Welcome to Beat Diabetes. I'm Dennis Pollock. We're going to look at one of the comments left under one of my videos. This individual says to me, Dr. Bernstein is a giant among diabetic educators. Here's something that confuses me, though. This is a legitimate question. This person says some diabetic vegans claim they control their diabetes with a vegan diet, eating no meat but lots of carbs. They do restrict certain high-carb vegetables. I could pass off the average Joe schmuck YouTuber, but these are a couple of PhD diabetics who wrote a book about this and claim great success. Are they lying? I trust them about as much as I trust anybody else, so it seems that two different diet plans both work. Well, there are a lot of things that can bring you some success in terms of your A1C, in terms of your fasting glucose, in terms of your average glucose. And if you take a person who's just eating the standard American diet and you just say drop sugar and everything that has very much sugar in it, I mean, that by itself would fix you. Whether you went the vegan route or you went the carnivore route or you went the ketovore route or the low-carb route, it would hardly matter. If you just dropped sugar all by itself, that would fix a lot of things. It doesn't mean it would maybe bring you into a non-diabetic state, but it would sure help. Another thing would be drop white bread. And especially powerful if you say drop sugar and drop white bread, do both of those. That would help tremendously. White bread is almost like sugar anyway, and it turns into sugar in your stomach. So if you say, Dennis, I don't want to do all the stuff you say. I'm not about to only eat 2 meals a day, and I want to eat my natural carbs. Well, if you just will drop sugar and drop white bread all by itself, you will improve. I can't say that you will fix diabetes completely or that you'll get below 6.5. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But the ultimate success is not just do you have your diabetes A1C below 6.5. The ultimate success is what kind of spikes are you getting? Because some of these people who say, well, you can eat plenty of carbs, but just don't eat the junk. I mean, again, that's an improvement over the standard diet. But most of those people who push a vegan / high carb, now not all vegan diets are high carb. There is such a thing as a low carb or lower carb vegan diet, but there are some vegans that are proudly boasting of how many carbs they eat. Well, I'm a vegan and I don't eat any meat, but boy, I sure eat the carbs and I eat 300 grams a day. Another one say, well, I'll see that and I'll raise you one. I eat 400 grams of carbs per day and my A1C is perfect. Well, I'll see that. I'll raise you. I'm going to eat 500 grams of carbs per day and I'll bet you my A1C will be perfect. Another one say, well, I can eat 10 bananas in a row and I still have a good A1C. I mean, I can eat 10 bananas in a meal. That'll be my lunch. And I'll still have a good A1C. And so you get all these boasts. One thing these folks almost never do is ask you to look at your glucose spikes after meals, what we call a postprandial reading, post-meal spike. How far does your glucose spike? And if your glucose spikes up to 200, but then within the magic 2 hours, it goes down to 95. You can boast a victory. You can say, well, I can handle. Sure, I can handle bananas. I can handle sugar. I can handle junk. Yeah, it spiked me up to 200, 225, 250, but within 2 hours, baby, I'm back down to 100, 95, 92. So I'm doing pretty good. My A1C is not bad, 5.5, 5.6. All of that may be true. Wouldn't be for a lot of us, but it may be true for you. The question is, what's going on with your spikes? Because if you are spiking high and then dropping down in 2 hours, and you're not even worried about where you are at 1 hour because you've been taught to do 2 hours, or many of you have been discouraged from even testing glucose at all after meals. It's like, just rely on your A1C. Go to the doctor once every 3 months, every 6 months, get an A1C done, and see where it is, and if it's decent, you're good. But my friend, if you're spiking up to 200 or more after every meal, even though you may still have enough insulin response and enough insulin sensitivity that you can be down within 2 hours to a decent number. You're marching, as far as I'm concerned, you're likely, I won't say it has to be true every case, but you're likely marching toward diabetes. It's just going to take you a while. Now, again, if you give up sugar, give up white flour, give up chips, give up candy, give up soda, give up fruit juice, you do all that, and you're just eating more the natural carbs, the sweet potatoes, the quinoa, the brown rice, then you're doing a lot better than the average person, because those things are killers. The white flour, the sugar, and so forth. So anytime you switch from a standard diet to any kind of a diet that's not a standard diet, where you're giving up sugar and white flour, you're doing yourself a favor. It may not be the ultimate favor. You may go from a 12 A1C down to a 7.5, and that's good. That's tremendous improvement. But you probably won't be able to get down to 5.5 or 5.2. But even if you can get that low, you still got too much insulin going on in your body, which is taking you to hyperinsulinemia and insulin resistance. So, a CGM, if you were to wear an accurate CGM, that would absolutely wipe out the idea that I can eat carbs and get away with it. That CGM would tell. It would be the tattletale. It would tell on you. And it would show how you're spiking after every meal. Now, again, many vegans who boast that they can eat high carbs and get away with it because their A1C is pretty good, they're spiking all over the place every day, spiking all over the place every day. They often will have 100 points. And these two PhDs, I saw a graph of one of them who ate a high-carb meal, and he jumped up to something like 180 after the meal and then dropped down about 100 points after that, after a couple of hours. So there was a tremendous range of spike and then plummet, spike and then plummet. Not really a healthy thing as far as I'm concerned. Now, if you say, well, I think that's the way to eat, I think that's the way to live, well, it's your body. You're going to have to make that decision. But if you can somehow figure out how to eat high carb and keep a decent A1C, but your insulin is high, well, there's a phrase for that, and the phrase is you're kicking the can down the road a little ways. You're delaying because you're not eating the junk. But all that insulin in your body surging and receding and surging and receding, you're just kicking the can down the road. You may do fine at 42. You may not be doing very well at 65. And the safest thing is just don't eat so many carbs. And finally, the person says, are they lying? And I've looked at some of the reviews from some of the books of people that eat the vegan / higher carb diet. And there are reviews of people who say, he really helped me, and I was diabetic and now I'm not, and so forth. I don't think they're all lying. The minute you go to a vegan diet, you cut your sugar out, if it's a good vegan diet. And a lot of them will even tell you to cut down on your starches. So no, I don't think these guys are lying, and I don't think most of the reviews you see under various books done by vegans about diabetes, I don't think those people are lying. But they may be deceiving themselves a bit, thinking I can eat this way and I'll be fine when I'm 50 and when I'm 60 and when I'm 70 and when I'm 80 and when I'm 90. They may be deceiving themselves. Again, far better to err on the side of caution. If you've recently been diagnosed with diabetes and you've just discovered this channel, let me recommend that you go to our uploads page, which will give you access to every diabetic video we've posted since we began. As you work your way through all our videos, I believe you'll find the help you need. A link to our uploads page is in the description.